Hey there guys, just stopping by for another video lesson today. I hope that everybody is doing well and that everybody's taking care of themselves. I know that we're closing into the end of the week, and I'm very happy that you guys have submitted your work and that you're working very consistently and that everybody's taking care of their business. But also don't forget that if you have not submitted some of the work, just stay intact and work on that, and please submit it. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. But today guys, I want to take care of an FRQ with you guys. So let's go ahead and take care of it. It says, Charlotte is 88 years old and is feeling the effects of her long life. She suffered a stroke 5 years ago, which left the right side of her body with a limp. She also sometimes has trouble understanding when she is asked questions. Her doctors believe that she also may be suffering from the beginning stages of Alzheimer's. Define each of the following terms and explain how each might contribute to Charlotte's current circumstance. Awesome. So let's go ahead and dive in just right into the first one. So we need to use motor cortex, acetylcholine, association areas, plasticity, epigenetics. Wonderful. So let's go ahead and take care of the first one. So the motor cortex here, we need to know that it's responsible for movement, right? For directing movement. The left side of the body is controlled by the right hemisphere, and the right side of the body is controlled by the left hemisphere. I'm so sorry. Let me rephrase that. So whenever we're talking about the motor cortex, we need to know that the left motor cortex controls the right side of the body, and that the right motor cortex controls the left side of the body. So the motor cortex is responsible for directing movements. The left motor cortex controls the right side of the body, while the right motor cortex controls the left side of the body. So in this example, because Charlotte's right side is with a limp, the damage from her stroke most likely occurred in the left hemisphere and potentially in her left motor cortex, which would leave her with little muscular control on her right side of the body. Awesome, so that's the rubric. Now if we could create our own, let's create something like, we can say something like, the motor cortex is responsible for directing movement by having the left cerebral cortex control the right side of the body and the right cerebral cortex control the left side of the body. As a result, Charlotte's right side of the body limp is caused by damage to the left side of the cerebral cortex, causing her motor deficiencies. Now, we're successfully done. We created our own version of the rubric. So in a sense, if you knew the definition, you were also able to connect it to the scenario as a student. So now let's go ahead and talk about acetylcholine. Acetylcholine, we know that it's a neurotransmitter that's associated with movement, coordination, but it's very big on movement. Let's go ahead and try to tie this together. Let's go ahead and follow the rubric. If I was a student and I was working on these assignments by myself, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter that plays a role in muscle action, learning, and memory, and movement, and things of that nature. So the example here is, if Charlotte suffers from Alzheimer's disease, it is possible that the neurons responsible for producing acetylcholine have deteriorated. So all we have to do is saying something like, acetylcholine is a neurotransmitter associated with coordination, movement, memory, and learning. If Charlotte's right side of the, if Charlotte's neurons were deficient, she would have trouble secreting acetylcholine, causing her to have issues when remembering or moving. Perfect. So we have taken care of two. We have now taken care of the two first entries. We're about to take care of association areas. So association areas are areas within the cortex that allow us to make associations and connections and things of that sort. So if you as a scholar don't know what the definition to this is, it's kind of hard to answer this part of the question. But if you look at the rubric and you understand that association areas are the areas of cerebral cortex not involved in motor or sensory functions, but rather they're involved in higher order thought processes like learning, memory, and thinking. Well, then maybe you would know how to answer a little bit more now knowing the definition, right? We could say something that if Charlotte's association areas have been damaged, it may be difficult for her to integrate new ideas. She may have trouble retrieving memories that were once easily recalled. So let's go ahead and take it back. So here, let's work on this together. So we're going to say association areas are areas within the cerebral cortex that allow us to recover memories and keep one functioning accurately. So association areas are areas within the cerebral cortex that allow us to recover memories and keep one function accurately. If Charlotte had damage or has damage to her association areas, then it may be the reason why she is having a hard time recovering previous memories. Done. So you see, guys, all it takes is just simply defining and then connecting to what's going on. That is pretty much all. So we have successfully worked on the first three. Now we're about to talk about plasticity. Plasticity just simply means, or when we talk about plasticity, we talk about the brain's ability to create new neural pathways. And this often occurs in response to the brain's injuries and occurs most efficiently in children. So we can say something like, because of Charlotte's age, her brain will not have the ability to build an abundance of new neural networks. And if she has not recovered from her injury in a few months this time, she is not likely to make progress. So when we start talking about plasticity, we just simply start talking about it. Plasticity regards one ability when young to create new neural pathways which allow for new memories in a different area of the brain relating to the area damaged. Alright, so we misspelled some things here. Let's just go ahead and fix that real quick. Alright, memories. No, memories. Which allow for new memories in a different area of the brain relating to the area damaged. So now we can say something like, Charlotte is of age, and because of that, she will not have the ability to undergo brain plasticity which will leave her deteriorating. Awesome. So we have successfully worked on plasticity. The last part of this FRQ is the one that follows. So we need to talk about epigenetics. Epigenetics are just the study of the environment and how the environment has or influences gene expression. So we can say something like, perhaps Charlotte has a predisposition for Alzheimer's disease. Maybe it's something she was born with. If she was in an environment which was not enriching and cognitively engaging, it may have made Alzheimer's disease much more likely. On the other hand, despite having a genetic predisposition for Alzheimer's disease, if Charlotte was exposed to an enriching environment, her disposition may not have been exposed or expressed. Awesome. So remember, epigenetics is the study of environmental influences on gene expression. So when we talk about epigenetics, all we have to do is say epigenetics are the study of gene expression relating to the environment and experiences. So we can say something like Charlotte, let me just fix this real quick. Charlotte might have been stuck at home alone and comes from a family who has Alzheimer's. Her predisposition for the disease to contract, or for the disease to show up. So Charlotte might have been stuck at home alone and comes stuck at home and has a genetic condition that comes from family known as Alzheimer's. Her predisposition for disease might have been more probable according to epigenetics. Alright, so let's read that last part really briefly. I think we need to fix it, but for the most part we're almost done. It says, epigenetics are the study of gene expression relating to the environment and experiences. Charlotte might have been stuck at home alone and has a genetic condition that comes from family known, or that comes from family. Let's fix this. I don't like it. So Charlotte might have been stuck at home alone and has a genetic condition that comes from family known as Alzheimer's, which her predisposition, which makes or made which makes her predisposition for the disease much higher due to pre-existing conditions. Awesome, so we are finished. And it says, epigenetics are the study of gene expression relating to the environment and experiences. Charlotte might have been stuck at home alone and has a genetic condition that comes from family known as Alzheimer's, which makes her predisposition for the disease much higher due to the pre-existing condition. Or much higher, just much higher. Right there. Awesome. So guys, this was it. Just make sure that you go ahead and take care of the FRQ. Work on it together when you watch this video with me. It doesn't take too long to complete, but we did take care of all of the words. I know that some of them were hard at the end to take care of. but just go ahead and try to define first and foremost and then relate.